Hello there, I'm here again to talk about language learning and what I've been up to. As I record a lot of videos here, I'm not having time to study language properly, and I will tell you here that my life got crazy. Like it was very busy and still very busy. Um, but I'm trying to organize it everything so I could get back to study language, then actually that is making me think a lot about language learning. Although I've started kind of to learn a new language that is Brazilian Sign Language. A friend of mine knows Brazilian Sign Language and he's teaching me, so I'm using this opportunity to properly learn a new language just by fun. I'm not committing to become um, to reach some level of proficiency or anything else. I just want to have some fun with it, and I'm really think if I should devote time and effort to Brazilian Sign Language because it's very um, is not very useful for me realistically. And I'm here. I was thinking a lot about my English recently also, so that's one of the things that I want to talk here because I think that my English is getting mm, weird in somehow. Uh, my accent sometimes is getting weird when I try to talk. Sometimes it sounds like a really Brazilian accent with um, so the very Brazilian characteristic pronunciation. Sometimes it sounds like an American accent or an Americanish accent because inevitably, if you listen to a lot of content in English, you will listen to a lot of content um, in American English, far more than in British English. And that's one of the things that makes my accent sometimes more American than British, but still I want to have my modern received pronunciation accent, and that's one of the things that I've been thinking recently. I got some new books to show to you. Um, let me take it. So I want to show to you this version that I got here. It's a very classic of English literature, and you're right, it's Hamlet. Probably you've seen wrong, but you see, it's an British English edition, like the very one English that um, Shakespeare wrote. It's a 1948 edition, uh, in, and was printed at Cambridge University Press. So it's very historically accurate, and the English used here is very close to the Shakespeare English and how he properly wrote Hamlet. Like you can see here the the book. I got this book by for like 15 BRL. Was very cheap indeed. It's a very beautiful edition. Um, I have now here in my kind of library in my room. So language learn and like people when talk about language learning reading, they normally give you a method to follow, and I've been thinking about this method Um, I want to start again to read in English, but it's not that easy. It's not easy at all. Take Hamlet with this very old-fashioned and fancy English and take it and read. It's not easy at all. And I'm thinking, what should I do? I read Alice in Wonderland, as I said here, and I want to buy more books of English literature or other literature but in English that I understand. Because I took like Wuthering Heights and I got the first page. There was a bunch of words that I didn't knew at all. So I need a book that is not that hard, so I could understand the words that I don't know through context, and it's not that easy either, because if it's it's very easy, I will not be challenged, and my English, my reading skill will not improve. So I need the middle ground, the proper middle ground, and that's what I think that I've been thinking recently. I'm thinking of take some collection of books that I like. I want to read deeply. I've been really think about Sherlock Holmes stories. I'm aiming to buy all of them, and if I don't buy in one shot, I want to buy first the Study in Scarlet and the other ones too. About my accent, I will try to push up myself a little bit more so I could have a more consistent accent and more proper accent is what I've been thinking about my English, right? Um, as I said, I started to learn Brazilian Sign Language for no reason, I think. I have not a clear reason that's moving myself to learn the Brazilian Sign Language, but I'm doing that because it's very funny. I really like the idea of communicate without using words, just through gestures. But I'm thinking if I really should have this hobby and put this effort and time in this specific language. Language learning is a thing that I've been recently thinking a lot. Um, but this is this is what I've been up to. I really like this cover. I really like the idea of this book, like this edition. Here you can see um, the crucifix. I think that, yeah, now you can see here. It's a very beautiful, in my opinion at least, it's a very beautiful version, and I shall read this someday. But I need to follow up the path to reading fluencies, if you will. Um, I want to become a better writer too. But in other sense, I already feel very comfortable with my English. I feel that I can express myself very clearly, and I know some types of knowledge and some types of content that I can talk with proficiency. I can dive into deep conversations, but at the same time, I think that I should push myself just a bit more to reach. Uh, I don't know if maybe C2 but I think that I will reach C1, or at least a solid C1. That's what I want to. Um, I want to do speaking practices, and with that, improve my accent is one thing that I want to improve, but I want to improve also my speaking overall speaking capability, to talk about a lot of things, the things that I like mainly, improve my reading, to read difficult books and immerse myself in the culture. Uh, Also, I want to watch content, and by content I mean mainly movies. I want to watch a bunch of movies so I could immerse myself in the culture at the same time that I'm learning English. Let me see. In writing, writing is the fourth skill that I mentioned here, and is the one that I want to improve, but not for now. I want to get back to my English study, which isn't a realistically thing right now, but just be here recording this video. I think that's a uh, a great advance in my speaking. I want to get a very specific topic and master the speaking of it, although I have this feeling of want to stay in the comfort zone and don't explore new topics and like get into new content. Because if I want to become more proficient, I will need to get more into details and choose a topic, master that topic, choose another master this other topic, and move on to others until I have some topics that I know very well and be very proficient in overall speaking. That's my main point here. Although I'm not studying English, but I feel that my English is not getting too much worse now. But at the same time, maybe my English is getting worse in some aspects, but in other, um, it's not get worse. Actually, I think that in listen, it may be improving because I still listen to a lot of content. All content that I consume is still being mainly English. Roughly 99% of it is in English, or at least 95%, let's say. That so the content that I consume is mainly in English, so that's helping my listening to grow. But at the same time, I think that my writing skills may have getting worse, and my speaking somehow could have declinated itself a little bit. Declinated is a word that exists, right? I hope so. Um, and those things, those aspects, is a thing that I really want to fight. But my goal is, for now, get back to my English, study a bit more like proficient, turn my English into a more proficient thing, and with that, I could move on to another language that would be French. I want to learn French next because French is a very useful language, and I think that it may be very helpful for me. But moreover to that, I really enjoy French. I feel that French is a great language, it's a beautiful language, as they say, and it will be great. I think at least I fancy that thing. About my Brazilian sign language, my Libras, or Libras, should I say in Portuguese, right? Uh, I don't know if I should keep going with this and when I should stop. Because, I have this idea of you should master the language that you start to study. So I start to study French. In my head, the feeling that I have is you should master French in some moment of your life. I start to study English, and my mind just passes the idea of master English before move on to the other language that I want to learn. Because you see, right now I think that my English is quite proficient in some degree. I can communicate myself, so I'm not a beginner in English. I'm not a beginner in English, and I can communicate myself. That's a fact. I'm communicating myself right now, but I don't want to move to French just now. I want to improve my English just a little bit, but at the same time, I feel that if I start to learn French, my English, I will still study in English, so I will have these two languages. Oh, getting back to my idea, I have this in mind of master a language before move on. And like if I choose a language, I do not want to learn just the basic, just to how to ask for a drink in a restaurant or type of thing. I want to have that language masterized in my brain. I want to become some kind of proficient speaker and user, if you will, of that language, and that's my goal with all the language that I want to learn. That's a thing that it's making me think really deep about the Brazilian sign language. Should I try to keep studying um, the Brazilian sign language? Should I start to learn French and hope that everything goes well? I don't know, because I already started to study the Brazilian sign language, not by myself, just with my friend. It's just like a thing, a hobby that I don't follow properly, but it's just like the idea and the language that I have contact with him, talking in the Brazilian sign language. That's the sign of hi. No, hi, bro. I hope that in the start I didn't do this. I hope that I did correctly. But I'm completely begin of it. I know nothing. But is that what I'm talking? If I want to learn this, I want to learn properly. I do not want to learn just how to say hi or anything else like to eat and those type of stuff and stop. I do not want to do that. I want to become at least proficient, a tiny proficient, so I could have benefits from the language that I'm learning. Because in the start, you have probably not too much benefits, but when you start to have more knowledge in the language, we start to have more benefit from it, and that's the point. That's my point, actually. I want to become good in what I do. If I will study, I want to study properly. That's basically everything that I had to say. This videos here I'm not publishing frequently whatsoever, and I think that I don't need to publish daily or weekly or so whatsoever. I just want to have this channel as a backlog of my English journey, and if in my path I help someone else, I will be glad to help you. And that's it for today, and see you later. Bye.